from the Wiltshire Times on Saturday the 20th of April 1912. After 3.5 weeks careful nursing and the assiduous attentions of the medical staff of the Cottage Hospital, the girl Eva Davis, a kitchen maid in the employ of Colonel Hall from Manor House, died from shock following her terrible injuries on Monday night. The doctors and the matron and her nurses have watched her case hour by hour, hoping that if the girl survived the month she would pull through. She has never been out of danger, and considering the terrible extent of the injuries, the marvel is that she lived so long. Death at length released her from a prolongation of suffering, which words cannot express. Mr. A. L. Forrester held the inquiry at the YMCA Hall on Tuesday. Mr. F. Newman was foreman of the jury. The deceased's full name is Evelyn Selina Davis. She was daughter of Mr. Dan Davis, cattle dealer, of Broughton Gifford, Melksham.
My name is Dr. Arthur Heaton of Malmesbury. I was called to the Manor House at 6:45 in the morning on March 16th, when I found that the deceased had been taken upstairs and placed on her bed, her wounds having been dressed by a nurse in the house. The wounds were from fire burns, and the girl was suffering from shock. I ordered her removal to the Cottage Hospital, where she made some progress for 3 weeks, but eventually died on Monday night at 9:30 from shock following the injuries. I wish to add that from the first, it was almost a hopeless case, as nearly every person dies from fire burns when the flesh is burnt 1/3 deep from the surface. In this case, the burns extended 2/3 from the surface and very greatly affected the nervous system.
Mr. Dan Davis, the father, identified the body as that of his daughter, Evelyn, before Mrs. Vick, a housekeeper at the manor, spoke.
The deceased was my kitchen maid and usually got up at 6:30 in the morning to clean the grate and light the fire. Eva told me that after lighting the fire on March the 16th, she was reaching over to clean the back of the grate when her apron and cotton print dress caught fire. She had been working for me for over 4 years and was used to her work.
My name is Annie Sprouls. I am also a servant. On the day in question, about 6:30 in the morning, I heard Eva scream out Elsie's name. I was cleaning the drawing room grate at the time, and I at once went to the front hall, where I found the deceased. She was all in flames and asked what she should do. I told her to stand still until I could get something to put the fire out. I went to the housekeeper's room for a tablecloth to put around her, but Eva ran towards the drawing room. When I returned, Eva was on the floor near the front hall, and Elsie was with her. With the help of Mr. Picottsville, we put out the flames.
I am Elsie Wiltshire, also a housemaid at the manor. At 6:30 in the morning on March the 16th, I heard Eva scream my name. I was in the drawing room, but rushed out to see what was the matter, and found Eva in flames. I told her to drop down, but she ran away. When I got near the passage, I knocked her over. With the help of Annie Sprouls and the valet, we put the flames out. All the front part of her clothes were in flames.
The coroner spoke to say much credit was due to all concerned, especially to the hospital matron and her staff, for the persevering way in which they had handled the case, as it was almost hopeless from the first. The verdict was in accordance with the medical evidence that death occurred from shock following fire burns. Mr. Newman, for the jury, expressed their deep sympathy with the parents of the deceased in their sad loss. Several of the jurors gave their fees to the hospital,